Welcome back, everyone. Today I am sharing the second and third week of my post-operative recovery after my total hip replacement. I did have a setback in the third week, which I'll go into detail about, but that was my fault. And I am doing better now, but it took me a week, at least a week, to get back to where I was previous to that incident. So in the second week of my recovery, I was still using the walker and not relying on it as much. But by the end of the second week, my home physical therapist let me graduate to a cane, and she said if I got tired that I could, still use the walker if I was getting more pain or more tired at the end of the day, which I did end up doing that quite a few times, especially at the end of the day after being on my feet more. Still paying attention to icing and elevating, and only taking my pain medicine at bedtime. During the day, I was able to be comfortable with just alternating some Tylenol and some Advil. And just a couple days into my third week, I had remembered seeing somewhere in my paperwork, my post-operative paperwork, that they don't want you jumping on that hip. And we had been running errands, and for the last errand of the day, we had to use our truck, which is it's higher off the ground than our SUV. And so in my mind, my husband was right there with me, spotting me, getting out of the truck, but in my mind, I didn't want to land on my operative leg. So I stepped out of the truck with my good leg, my non-operative leg, and didn't really feel anything at that time. But the next day I was in a lot more pain. I was definitely relying on the cane more, and my leg was really uncomfortable at that point. And I wasn't sure what I had done. I know that I had done a lot that day because we, like I said, we had run some errands. I did walk into a couple smaller stores, and our grocery store, I did use one of those little riding carts, which was quite an experience. But when I met with my outpatient physical therapist the next week, I kind of ran over the what I had done scenario, and she says, you always lead with your operative leg, when you're going downstairs or when you're getting out of a vehicle. And so that's what kind of tweaked the outer portion. There's a muscle there that I had pulled, and she pinpointed the what had caused that issue. And so what she did that day is she gave me a little insert, like a lift, to put in my left heel in my good leg, or my non-operative leg. And that really relieved the pressure and the soreness that I was feeling in my right hip at the time, and allowed it to kind of rest and heal. And really, I think that really helped a lot. And that insert has like 3 different layers. And so by the end of the third week, I felt ready to get rid of a layer. And I think now at this point, I'm a little further out than that, I could get rid of another layer, because my left leg feels like it is higher than my right leg. But so it did take a few days, at least a week, for me to get back to the baseline that I was at previous to that incident, because at that point, I want to say that I was using my cane only about 40% of the time. I was using it here about 40% of the time in the home. If I was going for a longer walk outside, I would bring my cane for stability and support. So I wanted to share that with you so you don't do the same, make the same mistake, I guess. And I am one of those people that I kind of have to rein myself in, because I always want to do more or do everything that I've been missing out on. And I still need to come back and just kind of remember that I'm still quite early in the post-operative process, and to take it slow and just do, you know, your exercises that are prescribed for you. So now I am back to using the cane very minimally, and when I'm in the home, and when I do go outside, I will use the cane for stability and support. It was discouraging to kind of be set back that way, and luckily it was a relatively short period of time that I recuperated and got back to where I had been before that happened. Let me know if you've experienced anything like this, or if you have any questions or comments. We all want to recover as quickly as possible, because we've been in pain for so long, and we've been limited in our mobility and what we've been able to do. But it all takes time, and follow your instructions. Thanks for joining me today. I will leave a link to my series of hip videos if you want to start from the beginning and watch those. And thanks for joining me. Bye.